JR and I met through similar circumstances that he met Barbara, mutual friends. 18 years ago, back in 8th grade, a mutual friend of ours, Ryan Bonifay, introduced me to Angelo through a game called Magic. Some of you know Ryan. A lot of you probably do because we all kind of went to school together. Our friendship started because of a mutual interest in a game. This shared interest is much similar to how Angelo and Barbara got connected, or how their connection strengthened. In case you didn't know, JR is kind of into video games. A fun fact: JR was once the number one ranked guild leader of the U.S. On the United States server in World of Warcraft. As funny as it sounds, it's a pretty amazing feat with a game that has over 10 million users. So that's how we met. That's how we grew up together. That's how our relationship got started. Two 13, 14-year-old kids playing games. But we really didn't grow close until much later in life. Well, not much later, but in the 8th grade, much later is, 2 years. But fast forward 2 years later, I tragically lose my mom, and I have to move away with my two brothers from Daly City to Fairfield. A year later, after that, our best friend of ours, good friend of ours, Ryan, who I just mentioned, moved to the Philippines. His family situation changes, and another terrible tragedy where Angelo and Bien's brother, Joven, passes away. And the circumstances for all our family changes to death, to people moving away, to people separating, has been kind of weird. It's awkward. They all kind of happen in a pretty short period of time. Arguably, during a period of time where you changed the most. Do you remember when you were 13, 14 years old? Puberty, right? From 13 all the way up until 18 years old. That's arguably probably the time you changed the most dramatically. So many emotions, puberty, hormones. But then during this period of time, we also have all this just weird changes in life. I was talking to JR the other day, and we were driving and talking about the wedding and stuff, and I was like, man, dude, we've been through a crap load of stuff together. JR found himself moving to Pinole, and he became close. And that's kind of how he became closer to me, just in proximity. I was in Fairfield. Pinole is about 30 minutes away, and I would drive down after I got my license, and we'd hang out. It wasn't just the proximity, but also the circumstance with just all the stuff that we've shared. At the time, just looking back at it now, I don't think he knew. I don't think I knew. It's just sort of coincidence that how everything just sort of lined up. That's sort of how we became really good friends. We share these tragedies and just situations. As a kid, you really don't see this stuff, the forest before the trees, so to speak. But as Bonifay would say, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And it's so sad, but we're just teenagers, just growing up into manhood, and it's all we're doing. We don't know any better. We each have our own way of dealing with difficult circumstance. And if there's one thing for sure, being a parent myself, as much as we as parents don't always want to admit sometimes, our kids are born with resilience. That's what makes being a kid so great. You're able to adapt, overcome, and achieve anything. Almost invincible. Then, as into adolescence or junior year in high school, we get into American online dating, trying to get buff in the gym, work out, and stuffing our face at hometown buffet, making gains, trying to build some muscle. We've made a crap load of mistakes and a lot of bad decisions. It's during all these shenanigans that we grow a really amazing friendship. What makes Jer and I polar opposites is his lightheartedness and sense of humor. He's always been great at getting you to laugh. He's always fun, loves to eat, play games. He's always great to be around, and chances are that's why Barbara is by his side. You only meet a handful of people in your life like JR. The people you grow up with during adolescence are few and far between. You know, people you haven't seen in years, but you can pick up right where you left off as if you just saw each other yesterday. There are so many ways we change as we grow older and sometimes wiser. Notice I say sometimes. But much of the time, we really just stay the same. And here's what I mean. I've always prided myself on being the smart one, the clever and ambitious, climbing the corporate ladder, trying to be success. JR has always known what is important to him. He was right. You were right, JR. We were talking in the car one day. I mean, I had my Camaro. This was in, 2000, yeah, 1999 maybe. And we was talking about love and family and all that stuff, and that was like the furthest thing from my mind. Uh, I just all I had was just thought of just being whatever it means to be successful, right? And here I am later with happily married with 3 kids, and pretty damn happy. It's sort of interesting how what was important then is not even important now, and it's kind of cool in many ways because I would never have thought that I would be where I'm at right now, and that's kind of what kind of brings this full circle because JR has kind of is something I've sort of maybe learned through osmosis and just kind of how I've been. It's just to be a rock and just be very consistent and reliable and just like a good parent, because he knows what's important to him. His daughter, Barbara, his family, um, and knowing Barbara and having my encounters and just chatting with them and knowing kind of just everything that kind of we've grown together and just learned about each other. It's cool because she's really a great gal, and JR, I know him so well that he's a great guy, and I think that there's kind of been no better match, especially for the way this wedding is set up. House Angelo and House Barbara, right? Anyways, but that's kind of what I wanted to say. Thank you for watching.